purpose of today's lesson is to go through a specific type of word problem called consecutive integer word problems. So let's talk about a couple of things. What does the word consecutive mean? The word consecutive means one right after another. And in the real number system, what are integers? Well, if you follow through, the first one is counting numbers, which are the numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, what you can count things with. The second are whole numbers, which are all the counting numbers in 0. The third is integers, which are the whole numbers and their negatives. So 3, -5, and 0 are all integers. Now, what does it mean to be consecutive integers? Just as we've said, one right after the other. And the key to this problem is to set up or identify your variable properly. So if x is the first consecutive integer, that's what CI stands for, then the next integer would be x plus 1 would be the second, and x plus 2 would be the third, and I could keep going forever. All right? Now, consecutive even or odd. This confuses students sometimes. But if x is the first consecutive even or consecutive odd, then x plus 2 is the second consecutive even or consecutive odd. What confuses students is they think consecutive odd is x plus 1, x plus 3. The way I get you to think about it is if you gave me 3 consecutive odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, the way I go from one to the other is by adding 2. Do not confuse the interval of 2 with the fact that they're still odd numbers. So the third one would be x plus 4 is my third consecutive even or consecutive odd. What's important when you solve these problems is that you do two things. You first figure out, are we talking about consecutive, consecutive even, or consecutive odd? And then you have to parse through the words properly. So, the sum, 3 consecutive integers, 129. X is the first, x plus 1 is the second, and x plus 2 is the third. The sum of them means to add the 3 of them together, and they equal 129. I have a very simple linear equation. So, what is my answer? 42, 43, and 44. And if I were to add the 3 of them, you would see they would add to 129. If you don't get an integer as an answer, meaning if you get a fraction or decimal, then you have done something wrong because your answer has to be integers. 3 consecutive odd integers, sum 87. So x is the first, x plus 2 is the second, x plus 4 is the third. I am going to add those. Three x plus 6 equals 87. 3x is 81. X is 27. So 27, 29, and 31. Okay. And if you were to add them, they would add to 87. Let's continue. Find 3 consecutive odd numbers, odd integers such the sum of the first and the third is 37 more than the second. All right, so 3 consecutive odd integers. Sum first and third. Let's just stop there. X plus 2, x plus 4. The sum of the first and the third, x and x plus 4, is an equal sign. 37 more than this adding the second, which is x plus 2. Okay? When you see those words more than, we're not talking about an inequality. That means 37 more than. So I get half the battle is setting up the proper equation. X plus 4 equals 39. Subtract 4. X is 35. So I get 35, 37, and 39. Okay, and then you can check your answer by substituting back in. Okay, let's go down to the next one. Find the largest of 4 consecutive even integers such that 2 times the sum of the first and the second is 14 more than 3 times the fourth. Now, obviously that sounds very complicated, but if you parse through the words properly, it really isn't as difficult as it sounds. So, find the largest of 4. That's just telling you which one they want you to figure out. Consecutive even integers. X. X plus 2 is the second. X plus 4 is the third. And x plus 6 is the fourth. Such that 2 times the sum of the first and second. So, 2 times the first and the second. I put that in parentheses because the sum has to come before multiplying. All right? Is my equal sign. 14 more than, 14 plus, 3 times the fourth. All right? Now, you might be saying, well, you never used the third one. No, that sometimes happens in these problems. All right? 14 more, 3 times the fourth. So, 2 times 2x plus 2 is equal to 14 plus 3x plus 18. I get 4x plus 4 equals 3x plus 32. I subtract 3x. X plus 4 equals 32. X is equal to 28. So what are my 4 integers? 28, 30, 32, and 34. The largest one is 34. Okay? Now, if you identify and lay it out like I've done here, that's sufficient for an answer. But you've got to be careful because they can make this a multiple choice question, and they would give you all 4 numbers or something of that nature as the answer, and you've got to make sure you're answering the question properly. Okay? Next one. The ages of 3 brothers are consecutive even integers. Consecutive even integers. So x is the first, x plus 2, x plus 4. 3 times the age of the youngest brother. So 3 times the age of the youngest, 3x, exceeds, means that is more than, exceeds the oldest brother's age by 48. So what that's telling you is if I multiply the youngest brother's age by 3, that's going to be the same thing as the older brother plus 48. 3x equals x plus 52. 2x equals 52. X is 26. So the brothers are 26, 28, and 30. The middle brother's age is obviously 28. And then you can check it. 3 times 26, which is 78, is 78, 48 more than 30? Yes. Okay. Next one. The perimeter of a rectangle is 40. centimeters. Now, your note sheet might say 36, but that doesn't make it work, so just scratch that out. The length and the width are consecutive. Length and width are consecutive odd integers. So length is x, width x plus 2. If it doesn't tell you which one is which, it doesn't matter, as long as you are consistent. Find the area. All right. Now, if it helps you to draw a picture, draw a picture. If the length is x, the width is x plus 2. So, what's the perimeter? Add up all the sides, or 2 times the length plus 2 times the width equals 40. So 4x plus 4 equals 40. 4x equals 36. X is 9. So the length is 9, the width is 11, and the area is 9 times 11, or 99 units squared, or in this instance, centimeters squared. Okay, let's continue on. Stan, Mark, and Wayne's age are consecutive integers. So, x is Stan, x plus 1 is Mark, x plus 2 is Wayne. Stan is the youngest. Wayne is the oldest. All right, the sum of the ages of the 3 boys is 111. This is pretty straightforward. So, Stan is 36, Mark is 37, and Wayne is 38. Those were the days. Okay? All right, moving on. Twice the largest of 3 consecutive even integers. So, x first, x plus 2 is the second, x plus 4 is the third. So, twice the largest, 2 times x plus 4 is equals 3 times the second integer. 3 times the second increased by plus 10. Okay? Now, I solve. You'll see that the equation part of this is very straightforward. Like I said, the main battle is getting the equation set up. Now, your answer is a negative. Well, there's nothing wrong with getting a negative answer to your problem. Okay? All right? So, as long as it doesn't say something like age or something similar, where you can't have a negative, then you don't have any constraints. If it just says integers, integers are positives and negatives. So the first one is -8, -6, and -4. Okay. All right, moving on. Find 4 consecutive integers whose sum is 2. So 4 consecutive, x is the first. No, I know x is x, but that doesn't do you any good. So x is the first, x plus 1 is the second, and x plus 2 is the third, and x plus 3 is the fourth. All right? We got a lot of x's flying around here. Is 2. Does seem a little weird, but that's okay. 4x plus 6 is 2. 4x equals -4. X is -1. So my integers are -1, 0, 1, and 2. And you see if you add them up, they do come to 2. All right? find 3 consecutive even integers. X first, x plus 2. You can see we have a lot of problems because these are the type that practice does really make perfection here. Okay? Twice the largest. 2 times. The key is when it says twice or 3 times or whatever, you put that in parentheses. Is it equal? 2 less than means you're going to subtract 2. 3 times the smallest. Okay? So, x is 10. So I get 10, 12, and 14. Okay? And we're at number 11. About Pat's family, 3 siblings. Ages are consecutive odd. So, x is the first. X plus 2 is the second. Remember, even though it's consecutive odd, you're adding 2 and 4 to it. Third. Emily is the oldest, so here's Emily. Pat is the middle. Sarah is the youngest. It is now 2013. That's nice. At some year in the future, 5 times Emily's age. So 5 times x plus 4 will exceed twice the sum. So 2 times twice the sum of Pat and Sarah's. So x plus 2 by 87 years. So I have to add 87 to their age. Okay? So first I want to solve all of this mess. You're using the distributive property, as you can see. So, what is the first thing we found out? Sarah is 71. Pat is 73. And who's the third one? Emily is 75. Okay? Now, the second question says, if Pat is 14 years old now, what is the future year? So Pat is 73 in the future. So if she's 14 now, I subtract those 2 to find out that we're talking about 59 years from now. So 59 plus 2013 means we're talking about 2062. Should I live that long? Okay? Oh, let me just see if I can scroll down here. And I think we might be at the end. Yes, we are. Okay, so just to summarize, consecutive integer problems, the key to solving them is to properly set up the and identify the integers. The common mistake is that students think that consecutive odd are x plus 1, x plus 2. That is incorrect. They are x plus 2, and x plus 4. The same as consecutive even.